back to living with cancer.
Yes.
What's the worst part of it? Is it puts some sense of mortality in your focus?
No, because I think a focus on mortality is a useful thing to have, and that's why I begin my book with it. You should always know
Before you knew.
that your time is very limited and that you're lucky to live in a time and place where you can be healthy till you're 60, as I was. Most people in history have never had a chance even to hope for a thing like that.
Indeed.
So no, for the avoidance of hubris, I think it's good to have a sober feeling of the presence of death.
But did you only get it when you got to 59 and 60?
No, but you get more of it when
Focused.
you realize you've seen more sunsets than you're going to see. You're bound to feel a bit more retrospective about that. You asked what the worst thing about it is. I think the feeling that I'm boring.
Which your mother said was the worst sin.
Yes, the unforgivable one.
Unforgivable.
People say, "Can I come round?" And I think they really mean it. You know, they'd love to see you. Can I bring you some food or some drink? So I'd love you to come, but I really don't think I'm much fit for human consumption. I hate that feeling very much. There are days when I'm very afraid it will stop me from writing. There's certainly days when I find it hard to write, and writing was recreational for me most of my life. It's hard work, but I enjoyed doing it. Wasn't happy not doing it. Now it can be an effort. I'm terrified it would kill my ability to do that, because that would sap my will to live, among other things. What else is bad about it? Makes you feel sick.
Physically.
Time passes very slowly. You feel your time is everything takes a long time. So you never get the feeling you've done a full day's work. If you've done anything at all, you're pleased. So your standards fall.
Yeah, and bored.
Boring and passive, impotent.
You can do nothing but wait.
None of these are attractive words. No.
And none of these, it goes exactly against the grain of the life
you
you
can't
live.
really seize the initiative. You can pretend you are. You can go and look up treatments. You can read books about cancer. Look up other protocols. Feel you're trying to steal a march on the thing, but I can't help feeling I'm fooling myself.
You're not stealing a march.
Well, you're not getting, you're not turning the tide on it. You're not. The initiative is still with the tumour. It's rather dictating terms.
Do you think about how death happens?
Yes.
What it's like?
Yes. In my book, I say that I want to be conscious for it.
You want to be conscious?
Yes, that it's an experience. It's yet another experience. I don't want to miss anything that counts as experience. Would like to sort of see it coming, have some remark perhaps to make about it. That's very qualified when you think of how painful a cancer death can be, where you might lose your ability to make an observation or really to be taking in the situation at all.
Are you trying to find everything you possibly can about your cancer?
Yes, without becoming someone who hasn't got anything else to talk about, read about. I mean, most of my reading is not about that. I try and keep reading. I'm reading Saul Bellow's letters at the moment.
Why?
Well, because they've just come out, and they've never been collected before, and because I knew him a bit and wrote quite a lot about him, it's wonderful to be reading about that. I'm reading Mark Twain's autobiography, long delayed, terrific. I read Hans Fallada's novel about the tiny resistance family in Berlin in the 1940s.
What recent books have influenced you the most, do you think?
Recent ones? Especially at times like this, I tend to go back to the old ones, I have to say. I'm not any more up on the new books than I am on, say, new films, which interest me less and less as well. Keeping up to date seems less pointful in that way.
Everybody wants to know the following answer. Has any of this caused you to have any change of your ideas or opinions about religion?
No. Why could it possibly do that?
Because of the old maxim that there are no atheists in foxholes.
Well, there I already know from my own experience and from other people's, because I've several times been in positions where I've thought, I'm not going to get out of this. I describe a couple of them, one in Beirut, one in Afghanistan.
Right.
Where at least it looks bad. It's never crossed my mind to resort to incantations or entreaties at that point. And I know a lot of soldiers and others who say the same. It's simply not true. No one seems to know where this silly adage comes from, but it's definitely false. Anyway, even the small point that it contains is what? It's people saying, maybe an exception to the general rule will be made in my own case. Well, that's pathetic, isn't it? No exception's going to be made in my case, as I've always known.
On the other
people
hand,
who say, well, if you'd only give up the principles you've been attached to for a lifetime, you might impress God that way. The likelihood that intercessionary prayer or things of this kind are going to make a difference to you. Whether you're healthy or ill seems to me to be nil.
And you say about those people who are having prayer vigils and whatever they're going to do on September 20th, one great united prayer. Mm-hmm. You say to them, if it makes them...
They have my blessing if it makes them feel better, yes, absolutely. I don't want to be churlish about it. I mean, I've had a lot of very nice letters from people who say, since it's you, I won't pray for you, because they think I might mind. But I mean, anyone who's kind enough to express sympathy, I'm not going to sneer at them, no, because that would be cheap. But there is a long history, very unattractive history, of religious people going around claiming that non-believers reconsidered everything at the last and were received into the bosom and so forth. And this has involved the fabrication and telling of lies about Thomas Paine, David Hume, Voltaire, Darwin, the circulation of real slanders. And I think it's a disgraceful advantage to want to take of people too. I mean, why do you think that a conversion made by someone whose body and mind is giving way is worth having? It seems like a horrible form of moral blackmail to me. It's offering people salvation on those conditions and terms.
So if a man...
So I find it, I do find it, in its history, positively repulsive. In the soft form it's offered to me, we pray either that you get better or that you see the light. What's the harm? It's like holy water. It can't burn you.
Any Dylan Thomas in you?
No. No, because what's to be enraged about? It's a very necessary thing.
The end
Yes.
is to be enraged about.
Well, the anger I can't muster, really, because it's necessary that people die. It would be terrible if people did not. People have to die in large numbers every day so as to make room. I'm leaving the party a bit earlier than I'd like. Much earlier than I'd like. Or rather, it looks as if I might have to leave quite a little bit earlier than I'd like. And not only that, but the party will go on without me. Even more horrible thought. But why should I be enraged at that? That would be spiteful.
And the bottom line truth is, that whenever that happens, whether it's next week or 5 years from now or 10 years from now or through some miracle of medical revelation that we do not yet know, you have to know that you have engaged it, and you have engaged it with great sense of fierce fighting for ideas you believed in, fierce commitment to friends, and fierce love of family. Well,
life is a terrible thing to waste. So I hope I haven't wasted too much of it. It's very kind of you to put it like that, anyway.
Clearly, when you look at these books, Hostage to History, Blood, Class, and Nostalgia, Imperial Spoils, While Orville Matters, No One Left to Tie to the Triangulation of William Jefferson Clinton, led us to a young contrarian, The Trial of Henry Kissinger, Thomas Jefferson, author of America, Thomas Paine's Rights of Man, a biography, God Is Not Great, How Religion Poisons Everything, essays, collaborations, and pamphlets, that it has been a fascinating time. Thank you.
Thank you, Johnny.
Pleasure.
Thanks for coming.